ahead and call the Regional Planning Commission meeting to order. We'll first do a roll call.
Yes, Patrick Brown.
Here.
Mayor Fuling-Bogus.
Present.
Steve Summers.
Present.
Mayor Smith.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here.
Kyle Patterson.
Here.
Alicia Beck.
Here.
Katina Wiltshire.
Here.
And Kelly Blandon. Thank you.
All right, the agenda has been published in advance. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Summers.
Do we have a second?
Second, Smith.
All right, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any audience participation? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes from the August 25th, 2023 meeting, which are attached. Do I hear a motion to approve those draft minutes?
I'll make that motion.
All
Second.
right, Chair Marlin, any discussion on that, or any issue? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Consolidated financial reports.
So not much going on, I guess, per se. I'm looking at the reports for this meeting. I know the one most noticeable change you guys see is Fund 2109, currently carrying a deficit fund balance of about $837,000. That's because this first draw that we did with the new program was quarterly instead of monthly, just because we were trying to make sure everything was set up and working properly before we did the cash draw. So there's about $790,000 that we submitted for a draw related to that deficit on September 22nd. And then now we're set up on a monthly basis going forward to where basically you won't see nearly as much of a deficit in that fund going forward. It'll probably be closer to a couple $100,000 each month that we're trying to get reimbursed for. So otherwise, RPC as a whole, the fund balance is very healthy, no issues. And I kind of alluded to it last meeting, but the police training, with it having its own fund now, you are seeing where we operate on a reimbursement basis for that grant, so it's currently got a deficit in it as well this go around. And the reason why we had to split it out was because of the fact that we get like an external audit specific to the police training, and they had just made a recommendation that we split it out in order for tracking of their the balance sheet, since we're not able to do that with it included in Fund 75. So.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the consolidated financial reports for August and September 2023?
So moved. Beck?
Beck, do we have a second?
Second. Fuling-Bogus.
Any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, list of bills.
So 474, Fund 474 and 475, no activity. 109, you'll finally see that we're starting to ramp up activity within that program, and yeah, consistent basis. We're typically going to see about $200,000 to $300,000 at the bare minimum until funding is starting to get fully utilized there. Then basically October 2nd, the LIHEAP program started ramping up, so we're going to see a lot more involvement there. But I mean, if there's any questions on the list of bills from August or September, just let me know. But at the end of the day, we have nothing really sticking out this go around.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept and place on file the list of bills for August and September?
So moved. Wiltshire.
Second? Second, Patterson. Patterson, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. On action items, approval of employee health insurance for fiscal year 2024. Tammy.
Good morning. First meeting here, so I know several of you. For those of you who haven't met, I look forward to getting to know you. And I have before you this morning a recommendation for the employee health insurance. The county board has already approved the plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield for fiscal year 2024. And there are no plan changes. However, there is a rate increase of just under 20%. That's a fairly significant increase, greater than the county has seen as long as I've been here. And that is a direct result of our losses. In our loss runs, the premiums are not covering our claims. So we are asking for the plan for employee contributions to match the plan that was approved for the AFSCME Head Start contract earlier this year. And that is a $120 a month contribution from employees. And the contribution from CCRPC for the employee-only plan would be $1,103. That is a 90%, 10% split between employer and employee.
All right, any questions for Tammy? All right, hear a motion to accept and place on file this action item. So yeah, we're accepting the action item for the employee health insurance for 2024. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Arlen, second? Smith. All right, any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Head Start Code of Conduct.
Good morning. In your packet, I did provide all of you the code of conduct that we have for the governing body and the policy council. As you know, the Office of Head Start does require code of conduct for our employees. We actually created one this year for our parents and visitors that are coming into our program. Then, of course, our policy council and governing body. The code of conduct must be shared with all of you, and by receiving your approval, you are accepting the code of conduct as part of that agreement. So that is what I'm bringing forth to you today. If you have any questions about the code of conduct, but I am asking your approval and therefore receiving an agreement of the code of conduct for each one of you here present today.
Any questions? All right, do I hear a motion to accept the code of conduct for Head Start?
So moved.
Motion, second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of Head Start non-federal share.
Okay. Also in your packet, I did provide you the non-federal share and in-kind donation document that pertains to our governing body and our policy council. The Office of Head Start does require the policy council and the governing body to approve the value of the donated time, which we base on the county board members of what they receive as payment, which is $60 per meeting. So again, I am requesting your approval for the valuation of the donated time at $60 for the non-federal share and in-kind.
I'll make that motion, Wiltshire.
Okay, second. We have a second. Patterson, any discussion?
You can wait, the request.
Well, that's okay.
Sorry.
Totally accepted.
I
You
just
made
love
the
Head Start
motion.
so much, I'm always eager to support.
Is there any discussion on that motion besides the speed of it? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Next, Head Start, Early Head Start reports, management reports.
Well, it's me again. What I do want to share with you, last month we talked about our enrollment. Our enrollment is increasing, so I'm very happy to report to you all that Head Start, Early Head Start is increasing. We are struggling a little bit with the Early Head Start expansion. We have been challenged, I think, as you know, with staffing, and that's had a huge impact. However, with the support of our human resource department, all of the specialists and the director, they are working very closely with Head Start management on getting information out into the community. Maury Williamson has played a huge role in that for us, getting our information out onto radio stations, social media. We are starting to see flyers getting out to multiple people in various parts of not just our state, but our country. So that's really interesting and awesome to see. And then in November, I will be presenting to the board the continuation grants that we normally send out to the Office of Head Start. It's our Head Start, Early Head Start, and our Early Head Start expansion. I will also share with you the annual report, the continuous quality improvement plan, as well as our self-assessment that we had for last year. So I'm just wanting to get you all prepared for that. So that is coming, and I'm going to keep it short today. That's all I have.
Any questions related to any of that? Okay, do we hear a motion to approve the Head Start management reports, including the financial and service area reports for July and August of 2023 as presented?
So moved, yeah.
Second.
If someone second.
You're,
Dave, right?
did I hear a second?
Someone else say second?
Second.
But I, of course, will second.
Any discussion?
She's made second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, motion carries. Program updates. Finance.
So last time we were here, the county audit was still taking place. I was, because of the transition from the auditor's office, I was working closely with them still to make sure that the audit gets submitted on time. Happy to report that all that's done with, audit's closed. I can sleep a little bit better at night now. There were no single audit findings found for RPC. Linda Dyer, Jeremy Rill did a really great job this year putting in extra hours to make sure that the single audit portions that they are involved with heavily came back clean, so happy there. Right now, wrapping up, one of the things I talked to you guys about originally when I first came on was the need for us getting some, almost like some canned reports within the SSRS system that's used by our accounting software. That way we can get more timely data and, that's accurate and can be reported on rather than having to wait for a few weeks. We're to the final stages on the build out of those reports as of right now. I'm going through checking every single line in detail for these monthly reports that we currently have against those canned reports to make sure that they look nice and are reporting the correct data. I guess what that means on the outside is that the monthly reports will still look exactly the same, nothing to really change there, but we will be able to finally, we can run a report at any point in time during the month, or we can backdate and look at previous reports for any potential changes or adjustments that take place, which would be really nice. Help with making some quicker management decisions. And then we also had a discrepancy report that we've got built out, and I'm once again checking in detail on that one as of right now. One of the biggest issues with the movement over to the new Munis software was we've got a project ledger that's specific to the grants, and then we've also got the general ledger, which is more the county side. Well, those two always don't reconcile together, and it's been extremely difficult to be able to identify what differences there are between the two different ledgers and account for it. And my hope is that with this new discrepancy report we've got built out at this point, we should be able to, once again, to help with getting the monthly financials out a lot quicker. So, other than that, as of right now, the main thing has just been kind of monitoring the federal shutdown potential that's taking place and what sort of impact that might have on our programs here within the next few weeks. So,
Any questions? All right. Human resources. Nothing's going on in human resources. All good.
Nothing's going on. And I'm on team Keep It Short, so thank you. Thank you. RPC currently has 303 active employees, which includes 66 work experience participants. The Human Resources Department has been focused on several staffing strategies to attract, motivate, and retain qualified staff. The management team is working strategically to fill 29 open positions across Head Start, Community Services, and Planning and Community Development as soon as possible. We are experiencing the lowest vacancies since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the lowest turnover rate. RBC currently has a turnover rate of 33%, which is 11% lower than 2022. Our active projects include UKG, Human Resources Information System, has been implemented. We are currently refining the recruitment module and will begin working on performance management module in early 2024. Human Resources has been working with the fiscal team on completing this year's compensation planning, and the management team is wrapping up this year's performance review cycle. Next week, we will begin working on the Workforce Development Services, Americans with Disability audit of 5 workforce sites and 22 partners. And I am happy to report that RPC will be hosting an event to support the Champaign Police Department and Urbana Police Department with stuffing the squad car on November 28th. We are hoping for 300 food items to help out the Eastern Illinois Food Bank and our community. The Human Resources report presented represents personnel transactions from August 6, 2023 to October 7th, 2023. The report is being submitted today for the board's approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. Do we have community services? Okay. Rita, community development. Rita.
Good morning, everyone. Planning and Community Development staff continue to work on managing the ARPA funding for the county and the ARPA funding for the city of Urbana. At this time, we're working on submitting the quarterly reports, which has been challenging, but we're moving forward with those projects. Besides that, I want to provide an update on the Long Range Transportation Plan 2050, particularly related to the public involvement. We just completed the first round of the public outreach for the plan. For that purpose, we put out an online map and a survey. Regarding the survey, we collected 382 surveys from people in the area through 15 events that we have in the community, 6 in Champaign, 7 in Urbana, 1 in Savoy, and 1 in Mahomet. These events were held between late April and early October. Due to weather and other reasons, we had to cancel 2 events in Champaign, 1 in Urbana, and 1 in Savoy. But we are really pleased with the responses that we have received. We also had an online map that is still open, that people can provide comments regarding what they like or dislike about the current transportation system in our community, and we'll be using that input to develop our scenarios for evaluating the transportation conditions in our community. Other aspect that we have been working on is on grant applications. In August, we submitted to the USDOT a Protect grant for $380,000 to conduct a comprehensive and localized analysis regarding the impact of climate change on the transportation system in Champaign County and develop a transportation system vulnerability assessment score for our transportation system. Also, in October, we submitted 2 Safe Route to School grant applications on behalf of the village of San Joe. We worked with them to submit 1 Safe Route to School grant application for infrastructure to build new sidewalks on the community, and a $45,000 Safe Route to School non-infrastructure grant application to develop Safe Route to School plans for the schools in San Joe. And currently, we are working on preparing a grant application to submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for $1.56 million We'll be submitting this grant in November, and the pro-housing proposal, this is a new grant, aims to address housing needs in the priority area. Champaign is considered a priority area by this grant through both long-term regional housing planning and short-term assistance in constructing affordable housing in our county. The planning component of this proposal is the allocation of $600,000 for the development of the Champaign County Regional Housing Plan. RPC developed a regional housing plan back in 2011. Then we are due to develop a new housing plan for Champaign County. But in addition to that, we work with staff from the city of Champaign and the city of Urbana to identify infrastructure projects that we can support with this grant. Then we'll be including in the grant application gap financing for two affordable housing developments. $300,000 toward Bristol Place Senior Residences on North Market Street in Champaign, and $500,000 for the Learman Avenue project in Urbana. Then the total amount will be $1.56 million, and we'll be submitting the grant in November. And lastly, I want to mention that early in March, we submitted a state planning and research grant to IDOT for developing an equity analysis tool to quantify housing and transportation affordability and accessibility at the neighborhood level in the Champaign-Urbana area. And in August, we were notified that that grant was awarded to us for $400,000. That's my update. Any questions?
Could you describe what the Learman Avenue plan involves?
It's just funding that we are requesting $500,000 to provide for building that project on Learman Avenue. We work with the staff from community services.
The housing?
The housing
Gotcha.
project.
Okay.
For the housing project there.
Question as well. Can you describe the equity tool, the equity planning tool that you referenced in the last bill?
For that project, for the equity tool, the USDOT developed an equity tool for the whole United States. But the equity tool that they developed that we are supposed to use when we are submitting projects for funding is a macro level equity tool that take data from the census to evaluate the impact of the projects when we apply for funding. Then we have collected here enough data for us to develop an equity tool that is more detailed in terms of the data that we have. We have access data, sidewalk data, and socioeconomic data that will allow us to develop that tool at the neighborhood level, and it helps us to, when we submit projects, to be more specific about how we are addressing equity in our community.
So basically using the surveyed information that we have from our sidewalk projects, for example, like examining sidewalk accessibility across communities, looking at census data for socioeconomic, demographic information, putting all those things together in one tool.
In one tool.
Yeah.
In one tool. We already have the sidewalk data available. We have a tool
Right.
in place. Then all that, putting all that together by neighborhood, then we'll be able to develop that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all good. Dr. Arnold, Workforce Development.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm on vacation, wanted to come and say hello. So good morning, everybody. I can't get my video camera to work for some reason, so sorry about that. I'm going to give you a couple updates. One, congratulations to the area on being designated by the EDA as a tech hub. You probably saw that in the news this past week. University of Illinois, Fermentation and Agriculture Biomanufacturing Hub was designated by EDA, and that covers Champaign, Piatt, and Decatur counties. That was U of I on the lead, and then Parkland College, Richland College were involved. Our local workforce area and the Decatur workforce area got to come in and talk about workforce development a bit. I know Mr. Summers was on that in that group, so it was a consortium of about 30. It was a big application, and congratulations to them for getting that designation. We're looking forward to working with them on some workforce development programs for youth, adult, and businesses. That should be pretty exciting for our area. Secondly, you know that we got our area received the apprenticeship grant from the state last year, and we've been working on that, and we've had a lot of success. For the state to continue to get USDOL funding, they needed to put together a planning committee to make a 5-year plan for how they would manage apprenticeship expansion. I'm on that planning committee with about 5 other folks representing our area. We are talking about apprenticeships in general, and then we have 4 target areas that we're exploring. Workforce boards and community colleges, workforce boards in high schools, workforce boards in employers, workforce boards and community organizations. So we'll work through that process of having open meetings and hearing from the public, and then we'll come together and develop a 5-year plan for apprenticeships for our area. I think that will help us all to be successful as we work to expand apprenticeships. Thirdly, we took a group to Michigan in October. It included Tracy Parsons from the city of Champaign, Alicia back from Parkland Swift, several people from U of I, representatives from IMEC, a couple of the Central Illinois Workforce Board members, some aides of elected officials, some other university representatives, and part of the Workforce Board, as you probably know, is to mandates is to explore best and promising practices and then share them and implement them. So we went to Michigan to look at DEIA strategies, retention solution networks, apprenticeships, and industry councils. I think we came back inspired and thinking about how to collaborate together. So looking forward to continued collaboration with community organizations and stakeholders in the coming years around best practices in workforce development. Lastly, over the past couple of months, there's been some business closures, and I just wanted to touch base on that and that process. Employers that, when they lay off more than 100 employees, are required to file a WARN notice. That WARN notice has to be filed with an elected official. Once a WARN notice is filed in our area, there's basically 3 folks that have to respond to it: RPC, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and then DCEO. And so when we hear a WARN notice, what we do is we work with the company to set up events where IDS is primarily involved with bringing employers to that business and trying to place potentially dislocated workers into new jobs. RPC shows up to talk about job training and changing industries and providing assistance if you were going to seek job training. We've had a couple of those WARN notices in the past couple months, most notably with Solo Cup that laid off 132 employees, and Volition that laid off 183. Champaign County Economic Development Corporation did take the lead on both of those. The WARN notice went to an elected official who contacted the EDC, then the EDC brought in RPC, and we activated the process with DCO and IDES. We were able to hold events with Solo Cup and help place folks with new jobs and get them connected to community resources. However, Volition has been unresponsive to all 3 of those organizations that are tasked with engaging employers. So in the future, just so everyone knows, if there is a WARN notice or mass layoffs, you can just contact RPC, and then we'll get the process started with IDS and DCO and other community stakeholders. Thanks for your time. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Hearing none. Thank you.
All right. Data technology, Tyler.
Good morning, everyone. Data Technology Division has continued to work on various data, software, and technical support items for the Planning Commission with division-specific and administrative projects. For administrative projects, we have the UKG Ready platform migration and integration with the Munis Tyler payroll system at the county. The integration export files for the UKG Ready have been completed for the RPC, and we learned that position control information contained within the county's payroll system is not required for the payroll to be processed, and we will not have to maintain it. This means we'll be removing the position control information associated with RPC employees from the Munis system and only maintaining positions in UKG, which will save our RPC staff quite a bit of time and effort. We are working with the Munis implementation consultant to make these changes and should have them completed by next month. The RPC has been training staff for the last 4 weeks to go live with the HR core module of the UKG Ready platform for go live of November 13th with multiple sessions led by our HR staff member, Bob Dorsey. This allows the RPC to phase out the implementation of our UKG Ready software. It allows staff and managers to experience the basic site navigation and support options before being asked to use it for time and labor tracking. The time and labor core module of the UKG platform is 90% complete, and we with a plan to have a production-ready system by the end of this calendar year. Recent staffing issues during October with our UKG time and labor support team have resulted in a 4-week delay in our timesheet testing. Our UKG project manager has assured us that additional resources can be assigned within UKG in November and December to make up for the lost time and complete the TLN module by the end of the year. But with this delay and considering the holiday absences we will have in December, we may be looking at the first month of 2024 for a realistic go-live date for the timekeeping side of this project. I will say this is the first time in over a year and 4 months of working with UKG that they have delayed us in this project. Typically, we are the ones asking for additional time to complete internal discovery documents and internal testing. Other administrative project is the Regional Planning Commission website redesign and update to a new content management system. Our revised website has been designed and built out with a new layout, updated hosting, and some new content. Site visitors will have access to new features and our old open source sites do not allow access to, such as the ability to sign up for notifications when new content or news articles are posted, calendars customized for each division, as well as a suite of accessibility features to make the site easier to navigate for those with disabilities, as well as also protecting the RPC from ADA lawsuits in the future. The site is going through final checks, and we are working with the revised staff to move our ccrpc.org domain over to the new site, along with all redirects to the subsites that we still maintain. The new site should be live by the end of next week if there are no issues with the domain migration. For the Sierra Integrated Intake Platform, we are working on a standalone site separate from the Sierra platform that will include the data from Sierra in a georeferencing application to provide advanced reporting and filtering that shows the enrollments in RPC programs geographically. Once complete, reports generated from this site can be filtered, exported to PDF, and shared with other jurisdictions to demonstrate the reach of the RPC within their communities. In other news, the cloud migration that we are currently doing for our internally hosted applications is moving forward to Microsoft's Azure Infrastructure as a Service platform. This is a PCD project that is moving forward with the creation of the account completed and initial upload of our Postgres GIS data also complete. We're currently working on connecting the user authentication through the county's domain to our AKS service account and researching how best to contain the data either directly within the cloud platform or through a gateway to our internal drives, which has an additional cost to it. Work on this project will continue through 2024 as all internal applications are moved to the cloud. For the Planning and Community Development Division, we have spent time working on an Advancing Equity QGIS plugin project. This tool would allow for georeference data sets from the Census Bureau to be created and downloaded through the Census API and QGIS plugin without having to visit the Census Bureau's website, saving planners quite a bit of time in their GIS work. The basic functionality of this plugin is built, and we are currently working on expanding it to cover 11 additional counties, including Champaign County in Illinois. Finally, we're also working with the Champaign County GIS Consortium on updates to our sidewalk and curb ramp layers to build unique IDs into those layers so that the city of Urbana can connect those layers to their asset tracking system that they have internally. We are also working with the county IT department on the creation of an SSO, or single sign-on certificate, for the UKG system that will connect with the county's domain for increased security within that system. And that's my update. I'll happy to answer any questions. Yes?
Remind me again, you said when is the timekeeping module likely to go live in 2024? What month?
We hope to have the production ready side for that module by December 20th is the date that we're shooting for. But with the recent delays, I think it would probably be more likely to happen to be a live system by the end of January 2024.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, there will be no, the item G will no report. CEO management.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Before I provide my brief report, I will ask our Chief Operating Officer to provide some updates to you.
Thank you. One of the projects that I've been working on upon coming here is the search for new space for the ICERT program. So DCEO is providing funding for the lease and build out of that program to expand. And we currently have an RFP out for broker services to engage a broker to assist us with the process of searching for that space. And then that will be followed up by a second RFP that will be for the actual lease and build out of the space. One of the other things that is a recent development is the county is the recipient of a new grant from the Illinois Housing Development Authority called the Strong Communities Grant. This is a $337,000 grant that will pay for the demolition of abandoned properties. And Central Illinois Land Bank will be administering that grant, and RPC will be serving as the fiscal agent. The last two things I have is just a reminder that we'll be bringing the compensation recommendation to the commission in November, and also planning for a group photo in January. So we don't have that set up yet, but I wanted to give you advance notice, so hopefully everyone will be able to make it and be a part of that group photo.
This is for the Climate Research Center. Coincidentally, I got a call from a couple brokers recently, and they had seen the RFP for the broker services to find a space, but they were concerned about the very short, they felt it was a very short turnaround time, given the amount of information that's requested in the RFP. Is there a reason for that tight turnaround time?
Well, it's a 2-week response time.
They felt it was, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I made the decision to make it shorter is because this search for space has kind of been drawn out for a while. So we were trying to expedite the process, knowing we have to get another RFP out to actually do the search for the lease and build out of the space. I haven't personally received concerns, but if that's something that we should consider an extension of an additional week, I would be open to that if there's no opposition from the LITSO or any of the other committee members.
I think that would help, I think.
If you've received concerns, I directly haven't, but
Okay.
if we think that would help expand the number of respondents, then I think that would probably be a.
But there's no
good
other
decision.
reason, that's just, you just need to get the space so you can get the next RFP out.
Yeah, unfortunately, the discussions about this space started before the program officially transitioned to the RPC, and I think probably started back in March. And so.
Where did it come from? Where did it
Program.
transition from?
From the university.
And this has to be a leased space, correct?
That's correct.
It's not, can't be a built space.
We cannot use the federal dollars to build.
You have to lease existing space. 55,000 square feet.
And
That's the
also a whole
minimum.
nother layer of
The minimum
issue.
requirement.
Okay. Yeah, I think an
Big
extra
space.
week would give people a little bit less of a headache.
Thank you.
I think it's what, minimum of 50.
55,000.
And then
up to 75,000 max.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass it along. We might have a fix.
That's all I have.
Just a couple of things from me. Building on to that, there'll be an open house for the iCert on November 1st, which is next Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. There should have been invitations sent out to you. So this would be at their current space, which is at Research Park. I believe the address is Oak Street. Yeah. Orion already covered the government shutdown that we're closely monitoring, and we've been in discussions with all of our funders. In most cases, for one of our big programs at LIHEAP, the state is waiting to get the award letter from the federal government. They anticipate getting that sometime next week. Once that's in place, in the event there's a shutdown, we will still have access to our LIHEAP funding. I believe 90% of that will be available to the state, and then that will trickle down to the agencies that implement the program. The last thing I will share is that I was invited to attend the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus Retreat, which was in Chicago the beginning of this month. And that invitation came through Representative Emmons, and I was able to present alongside DCEO on the need for us to really focus on utility affordability. LIHEAP is a great program, but we know that particularly for households that are 0 to 50% of federal poverty, even with LIHEAP assistance, they're paying a huge amount of their income towards utilities. And we're having conversations not just with the caucus, but with legislators as well as with the utilities on the possibility of possibility of having households that we serve with LIHEAP only pay 6% of their income towards utilities. 6% is the national average that speaks to what affordability should look like. And so we're looking forward to a lot of discussions, I think, before it gets to any sort of legislative effort. So that's all I have.
Okay, do we have any questions? All right, any old business from commissioners? Okay, so then we have new business, which is a closed session. I'll just ask Tammy to read that motion.
Motion to go into closed session. Closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2 C1 to consider the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, or performance of specific employees of the Champaign County Regional Planning Commission.